Hello everyone, I'm Kayla, the maker and creator behind Crochet by Kayla, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video, as you can tell by the title, is a Q&A, and surprisingly, I have not done a Q&A yet, so I thought, why not do one? So, what I did to get my questions is I put an Instagram story up and I said, I'm filming a Q&A soon, let me know what questions you want me to answer. So I got probably about 12 questions, so I'm gonna go ahead and answer all those. If you want to see more information about when I'm posting on YouTube, I usually post on my Instagram story about a day to 3 days in advance of when I will be posting my next video. And then I also post every once in a while a poll of what video you guys would like to see next, or a little box that you can put your video suggestions in. So if you want to be able to kind of help more in the video process, make sure you go follow me on Instagram. It is crochet by and then underscore Kayla. So one of the questions I got asked is, what are my favorite yarn brands and what are my favorite hook brands? So of course, if you're looking at my shelf, you can see I love Parfait Chunky, and my customers at all my craft shows love it too. It is just so perfect. I use it for everything. It is soft, so babies like it, and kids, and adults like it too. It is just so nice and soft, and because it is thicker, it does make projects go quicker, because if I want to make something this size in a thinner yarn, I would have to do way more rows. So I love this yarn because not only is it super soft, but it makes your projects quicker because you can make them with less stitches. And then I do have to say, after that, my favorite is, can you see it? But I have a lot of I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby over here on the shelf, and that is one of my favorites. So that brand is really one of my favorites. Besides that, I don't work with that many other yarn brands. I do have some Brava from We Crochet, and I do definitely like that a lot too. But most of what I buy is Hobby Lobby, if I'm buying stuff other than Parfait Chunky. And then for hooks, I really love these clover hooks. These are fantastic. But then I don't have any right here, but I also really love my Susan Bates hooks. The Susan Bates hooks are the first hooks I ever owned, and I love them. I don't have one of these clover hooks in the size that I use with Parfait Chunky, so I still constantly am using my Susan Bates hooks. But these are also another favorite of mine. And now, let me look at my next question. Alright, the next question is if I have any tips on tightness or looseness of your grip when stitching. Honestly, it kind of depends. What I do to help me hold the yarn and keep my tension even is when I'm holding it, I wrap my finger around the yarn that's feeding into my hook once, and that helps kind of keep it consistent. But honestly, you really just have to play around with it, and your tension will get more and more consistent the more practice you're putting into your crochet. It just takes time to get even stitches, because at first mine were not very consistent either. But honestly, you just have to really work to find a technique that works. But I have seen a lot of other people and myself where we wrap the yarn around your finger once and then hold your project. I hope that makes sense. And then another question I got is, what has been my favorite piece to create? Honestly, I don't really know. I think some of my favorites are really just the ones that are quick because of doing craft shows. I've come to loving the really quick ones because first of all, I really love when I can get multiple items done in a day because it just makes me feel so much more accomplished. I don't think my favorite is really anything that I've made that's like necessarily large because I do not love making items all the time that take a long time. So one of my favorites right now is definitely the octopi. Well, this is octopus, but multiples octopi because you can make so many fun colors. I also love the fish that I've made. I do not have any fish with me right now to show a picture, but if you've watched any of my other videos about my recent craft shows, you'll have seen those. That is definitely one of my favorites because I really, really love picking out the color combinations, and you can do the tail a different way and you can do the stripes a different way. And then another one that I also really love are these turtles because you can make them so cute. And another thing, crazy amount of combinations you can do for your colors. And I love getting to do the fruits. And then on to the next question. I've got a ton of things right here. This is kind of the stuff I've made so far this month, if you were wondering. Another question I got is, how long have I been crocheting? I don't exactly remember the exact date that I started crocheting. I know it was between 5 and 6 years ago because I believe I was 10, which would make it 6, getting closer to 7 because I'm almost 17. But I started my Instagram 5 years ago. In April, it was 5 years ago. So my bio still says 5, so I really need to change it to 6 because it has 100% been 6 years since then. But I would say 6 years. Recently, probably 6 years. And then another question I have is, what is the hardest thing I've made? Honestly, the hardest thing I made, let me find a picture. It wasn't necessarily like super challenging, but I personally really, really dislike when I need to sew stuff. Some people, when they crochet, they love sewing stuff on. Let me tell you, I do not like sewing stuff on. So probably one of the hardest things I've made was this. I hope you guys can see that. I had to sew on basically every single piece on this gingerbread. It was adorable, and I thought like it would sell right away. And honestly, I think it was maybe the second person that came to my booth bought this one, and the matching guy one. The matching guy one was just as many pieces to sew on, but the girl took longer because you had the skirt also. It just took me a while, and me and sewing are not besties. I do not like doing it. So I have to say that was the hardest to make because it took the most motivation to complete, honestly. And here, while I'm here, let me show, if you guys haven't seen, my fish that I was talking about earlier because I forgot. I have my phone right here and I'm not using it to film, and I can completely show a picture. These are the fish. That's one of my favorites. Sorry about that. Okay, and then next question is, what is my most popular crochet creation? I definitely have to say the most popular is bees because I've sold the largest amount of them, but it's also something I have brought the largest amount of to craft shows. Another one, I'll just list 3 because I feel like they're pretty neck and neck at this point. I feel like definitely my whales. Those are pretty high up there. And honestly, it kind of just depends, because I do put out a lot of seasonal items, and those are always the things that do best at each market. It's always the seasonal items, but I only have them when they're in season. So I'm trying to go based off of items that are just consistent throughout the year at my booth. So I would probably have to say bunny loveys. Every time I have bunny loveys, they sell out pretty much, or I will have one left that I come home with. And then I got, what is my favorite item to make? I already kind of answered that, but I do have to say another favorite is bees, because they're pretty simple. And then, do I have any tips for someone beginning their crochet journey? Honestly, one of my biggest tips is, as soon as you can, start learning how to read a pattern, because it seems super, super, super hard and complicated. But honestly, once you start to recognize the abbreviations, it is not as hard as it seems. Or if you're watching tutorials to learn how to crochet, because that's how I learned to crochet, I was watching tutorials. Make sure, like, if you're a lefty, try and watch as many lefty tutorials as you can, because that is really helpful, because I didn't really watch that many left-handed tutorials. Someone that I really watched a lot, but I haven't kept up with their social media as much as I actually should. I should go look at their Instagram more. It was Jada in Stitches. She has tutorials for both righties and lefties, I believe. So that was very helpful. I don't know how she can crochet both ways, but definitely make sure you're following tutorials that are like slow, and making sure like you're keeping up with how the abbreviations are in crochet, because the sooner you learn to pattern read, the easier. And also, if you're learning to make something and it seems really hard for you to make, but it's such like a simple item, like it should be a simple item to make, just keep making it again and again. Unless it's like a gigantic blanket and you just want one blanket, you don't want 5 blankets, obviously don't make it again. But if you're learning to make like a bumblebee or something, and each time you do it, it comes out a little better, keep going with that, because you're gonna want to create consistency with your items and how your crochet looks. You want consistency. And also, you don't need to get crazy expensive yarn. Go when it's on sale, because honestly, the price that you're buying your yarn at really does not affect the outcome of your project, unless it is something like a wearable. But if you're just making stuffed animals, buying a ball of yarn that is $10 versus $5 for a quality purpose and not a quantity, like how big the ball is, don't do that. Just buy whatever yarn that you like. Walmart sells yarn and the dollar store sells yarn. The fluffy yarn there, I do notice breaks really easy, but they have some others. So don't try and spend $1 million, especially if you're not sure if it's a hobby that you're really gonna stick with at first. And then my last question I have is how many craft shows I do a year and how long does it take to prepare for them? So I was just doing 1 craft show a year for 2 years, and then last year I upped it to 3, which I know is kind of a crazy jump, but I did it. And then this year I think I'm gonna try and up it to 4 and just do a smaller one for my 4th of the year, so it's less pressure and it takes less time for me with the items. But I'd say each craft show takes me about, on average, 3 months to prep for, because I know a lot of people that it takes a lot less time, and that's why they're able to do it in a way shorter amount of time than me. But I also everyone it varies because it just depends how many other things you have going on outside of your crochet business. Because some people, their crochet business is like their main hobby, so it's easier to allocate more time for it. But I'm a teenager with a busy schedule, so it usually takes me about 3 months. And I'm currently prepping for my October market, and I started prepping about May. So I'm hoping to be done with that one by hopefully July, get it done faster because it is summer, which means I kind of have a little bit more time, but not always. It kind of just depends week by week. And then I'm also hoping to then start prepping and be done for my November market ahead of time. So I'm really thinking ahead this year because I have 2 markets in a row, and I would like to try and do another market in December. So I'm really trying to prep ahead of time. And I already only have, I believe, 48 items left for my October one. But usually I'd say 2 to 3 months. It really just depends what is going on in those months. Like if I'm prepping in December, which is a crazy busy month, it's going to take me closer to 3 months if December is one of the months I'm market prepping in. It really just depends if it's like a busy time of the year. But anywhere from 2 to 3 months. And that is all I have for you guys today. So thank you so much for watching this video. And I will have the links to the yarn I talked about down below. I will also have the links to the crochet hooks I talked about down below, as well as the YouTube channel. And the patterns. Did I say that? I don't know. Alright, so that's all. And then also down below, there's a subscribe button. So if you're not subscribed to me, I shouldn't have to say what I think we're all thinking what I'm thinking, and that you should hit that button too. Maybe we're not on the same track, but I think you should. Because if you watch the video all the way to the end, you've got to like my channel. And then also down below, I have the link that is my link tree, and on that link tree, it has every single social media platform that I have, and you can just click it and follow me on any platform you want to. And I will see you guys soon. Remember that I post every other Friday, and this is going to be going up on, hold on, the 14th. So my next video will be on the 28th. And yeah, see you guys then.